sold, you need Thomas Meissen and Red and White Realty. 17 years in the business, they're the team you need. 902-233-5111. Thomas Meissen, Red and White Realty, the team to trust. Hello world and welcome to the Wolf's Den today. Today we've got Jordan Allan in the studio with us. Jordan, how you doing?
Not too shabby. Ain't any better to be two of me.
There you go. You know what? You're stealing my lines.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, if it was any better to be, I'd be twins.
Yeah, there you go.
And people tell me that wouldn't be a good situation.
No, hey,
one of me is enough. They don't need two.
I feel you there.
So, Jordan, Glace Bay boy.
Bay boy, yeah.
Bay boy. Well,
Absolutely.
better than a townie.
Yeah, people say we'd rather eat or fight than eat, but
that's it. Well, you know
I'm
what?
a lover, not a fighter.
That's okay. Listen, the art of survival's been around for a long time.
That's right. Musicians should know about that, shouldn't they?
Exactly. And I mean, look at how much you have to fight for that.
Yeah.
You know. So now, how many in the family?
There's me and my sister and my mother right now. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Now, growing up, big influences in the house of music, or the family, or how did that work out?
Yeah, my parents. I mean, coming anywhere across the causeway, as well as I do.
There's music somewhere.
You or your uncle can play guitar, or your cousin, so we always had music around. I'm the only guy in my immediate family that plays. My uncle Sean is a great guitar player. He got me into it when I was 15. Other than that, just influences, man. My mom always had, Fleetwood Mac or Tom Petty on the radio. My father was big into like Loverboy and Budgie and all those old rock bands.
Yeah. So Budgie, wow, there's a band I haven't heard of for a long time, man. Holy cow. You know what? And what an understated band. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had 8 albums, 7 albums, something like that.
You know what? I couldn't even tell you, but I remember getting this big box of records one time and going through them all. My mother saying, your father loved this band and this band and this band. And I'm listening to Rush and Dio and, like I said, Budgie, America, and you name it, right? So.
Wow. So now, around the age of 15, you started yourself.
Yep. So my Uncle Sean, as I mentioned, he started when he was a kid. And we always had a guitar at my mom's place for when he would come down from Ottawa. And he would always just kind of hang out on the deck and have a beer and play my guitar because I couldn't play it.
Yeah.
So, never had any interest. When I was 9 or 10, he tried to get me into it, and, I was too busy being a kid, right?
Yeah.
So then 15 comes around. I start getting into Black Sabbath and what have you, and we're at a barbecue, and he plays Paranoid. And at that point, I was like, it's time.
Yeah, you need to show me how to do that, because I need to do that.
Yeah, because, you don't start with chords in this house. It's Tony Iommi, right?
Yeah, really, eh? Just buzz, no fingers, Tony, just give her anyway. Baby.
Yeah, that's right. No, man, so, that's what I started with, kind of the classic metal. And then I went to a guitar teacher when I was, only for a couple months. His name was Bernie Eagles, great player from Glace Bay, or Howie Center, I believe. And yeah, he taught me just a bunch of solos and whatnot. So he really got me going on the technique and the awe of watching these shredders, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be a shredder.
I did. Like every kid full of piss and vinegar wants to do, you know.
Grow your hair long,
yeah.
Wear the jeans, and just sling that guitar low and hammer her, baby.
Exactly. Well, I couldn't shred on a skateboard, so I wanted to shred on a guitar, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, the only thing I could ever shred was vegetables or paper. But
yeah.
So now you're in Glace Bay, and there comes a point in time where you're not quite finished your education yet, so you're going to make the big trip. You're going to leave the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful island of Cape Breton.
The metropolis of Glace Bay.
Yes, and you're going to make your way to the dirty mainland.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And bring yourself right to the big city, boy.
Yeah. We went to Costco on the way. First
yeah.
stop.
Oh, yeah, you got to stop at Costco. Got stuff you got to buy. You never seen a bag of chips that big before.
Oh, man. It was the artichokes that got me, right?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
And then off to Dalhousie you go.
Yes, sir. So that started when I was, I think, going into grade 11. Yeah, it was grade 11. I remember somebody telling me, you know, the jazz band's guitar player, he just graduated high school, right? So he was a buddy of mine, Garrett, and I was like, well, frig, I know Garrett, you know, and I know he's a good player and stuff, and if I need some tips, I'll ask Garrett, but I couldn't read music at all. So I taught myself how to read music in a couple months, and I remember calling Barb Stetter. She was the band instructor, and Barb was just fantastic, you know, teacher, and she was very serious about it, but it was great because she was so passionate and really made sure the ones who were there to learned well.
Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. So I called her at her home in July and looked her name up in the phone book, and I said, hey, you know, like, I can't sight read to save my life, but I'll go in and I'll play, you know, whatever you have to show me. I'll memorize it the next week. I'll come in and I'll have it. That's my promise. And I did. So you know, after grade 12, she came up to me and she said, you know, have you ever thought about pursuing music post-secondary? I said, well, yeah, I have. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I was asking about schools. And she told me about a gentleman named Dave McCall, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And he played with Minglewood, the first time I ever saw Minglewood play. Fantastic guitar player. You heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I chatted with Dave on the phone for about half an hour, and he's giving me the ins and outs of where to go and what the degree is about, and yada yada. So anyway, I decided Dalhousie or St. FX, which is kind of the two, jazz or classical, right?
Yep.
So I got accepted to both, but I decided to go to Dalhousie because I wanted to be in the city and I wanted to work as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of decided to go there. And it was a very classically oriented program. You know, going there as the guitar player, like, I don't know if you've heard the joke about the drummer where it's like, how do you can tell the drummer is off balance on stage? He's drooling only out of one side of his mouth. Well, there, you know, we heard our wisecracks about guitarists too. How do you make a guitar player shut up? You put sheet music in front of him.
Yeah. Tell him to read music. Yeah.
Exactly. So there was a lot of catching up to do. I actually had to do a preparatory year because I had no option to do any prior training. In high school, we didn't have theory.
Yeah, nothing.
No, the year I graduated, they got a theory class.
They got a theory class. Hey, thanks, guys. Like, yeah, really.
Right.
Hey, you were lucky you had music in school because when I was in grade 2 or grade 3, they canceled the music program so we could learn French. So our music program got taken away, and the only other way we could do it was to go to band. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break right now because we're going to go and we're going to listen to a little bit of Jordan's music. So stick around and we'll get back at you. We're on CIOE 97.5, and we're also coming to you at Wolf's Den Radio on YouTube. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Girl, I've known you forever. How many nights have we we hung out together. Some little crowd in a bar in a town, out on this old dance floor. My boys are laughing, tap me on the shoulder, making a motion like a youngin' getting closer. Wanna know what's up when I'm still holding you, even when the song is over. There's a rumor going round about me and you, stirring up a little town last week or two. So tell me why we're even trying out this feet, and I feel it, don't you feel it too? There's a rumor going round, around, around. What you say we make it true, make it true. I can shut them down, tell them all crazy. I can do whatever you want me to say, baby. We could lay one on me right now. We could really give them something to talk about. There's a rumor going round about me and you, stirring up a little town last week or two. So tell me why we even trying out this feeling. I feel it, don't you feel it too? There's a rumor going round, around, around. What you say we make it true, make it true. Honest girl, now do you wanna do this or not? Should we keep them talking, girl, or should we just make them stop? There's a rumor going round about me and you, stirring up a little town last week or two. Oh, tell me why we even trying out this feeling. I feel it, don't you feel it too? There's a rumor going round, around, around. What you say will make it true. What you
You raised your family here. You lived here for 30 years, and now it's time to sell. You need the team that can get you the most for your money. You need to get Thomas Meissen at Red and White Realty. Him and his team have over 17 years experience in the business, and they will leave nothing on the table. So for all your real estate needs, you need to call Red and White Realty. That's Thomas Meissen at Red and White Realty, 902-233-5111.
Call Thomas Meissen.
Welcome back to the Wolf's Den, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed that. We got Jordan Allan in the studio. Now, Jordan, we were just talking about when you just started going to Dalhousie. Now, when you and I talked before, the funny thing is that you went to Dal and took the music course as a guitar player, which is, that's not the usual path that gets taken.
No, it's not. It's funny because when I got there was a lot of guys that are in the same boat as me. I remember this particular guy in my class. I sit down next to him on our first guitar orchestra, the guitar orchestra we called it.
The guitar orchestra.
And Scott McMillan was the instructor there. He still is, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my, yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah,
He's a genius.
yeah.
So, me and this guy sit down. I think his name was Timothy, and we look at each other like, oh man, we're just like, and you got the fourth years or whatever up front. Some of these guys have been playing since they were, kids through the conservatory or whatever, and they're and I'm in the back just going, okay, I got 2 bars and that's all I got for you.
That's all I got for you right now.
Yeah.
But you're right, like a lot of those guys that did that program through Dalhousie, they went through the Nova Scotia Music Conservatory program before they got there. Mm-hmm. So I mean, these guys were, they were eating theory and eating reading music, with their cereal.
Yeah, some have. Like I found it mostly like when I went there, the ones that could read like insanely well were the pianists and the violinists. Man,
Yeah.
It was just like, I mean, lots of other people could too, but I wasn't the only one kind of struggling. Like in my class, about 70% of us were shitty readers. we could read enough to learn the piece, but yeah, Scott was great though. They're really patient with us too. Like if you show that you're learning every week, you're coming back,
Well, I mean, let's face it, that's the kind of a program that, I mean, if you're struggling and you're really not doing well, you're not going to class.
No.
Right?
That's
Because
right.
that's one of those places where when you get behind, it's an uphill battle to begin.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're still down at the landing pad at the parking lot and people are at the first summit, that's a long way for you to catch up.
It is, and you know what? Like the practicing was the biggest thing because you're in school and you think like I'm in music school, I'm going to have all this time to practice. It's going to be amazing, but you don't because you're a full-time student. So you have your theory classes and your history classes, your electives. Plus, I worked. I was a bouncer at a bar. The Pogue.
At the Pogue.
Yeah, remember the Pogue Fido?
Yeah.
So that's we could go on about that for a whole different day. But so yeah, you had to keep your chops up, man. So I remember like Doug Reach saying like, you need to bring your guitar everywhere with you on campus. You'd see all the guitar players wherever they went, they had it with them.
Yeah.
If I was there for a class and then I was going to stay at campus for 25 minutes for something else, I would sit there on that 25 minutes in the lobby and work on 8 bars or go down in the practice room if I could. So it was constant, right?
Well, it was not uncommon to go into the sub building and see musicians sprawled out on a chair with a guitar, or see somebody there with with their notes, going over their notes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I worked down there. I mean, built a couple of the buildings that are right around that area. And but yeah, there's always somebody playing somewheres in a park, or in the spring and the summertime you always see somebody outside playing. And again, sometimes it wasn't really playing. You knew that it was it was full on practice time, right?
Yeah. When they're sitting there and you can hear a few expletives coming out.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Over by the old rink used to be good. There'd be people sitting in the bleachers there in the soccer field there, and you'd hear all kind. There was no games going on, but some days you wondered.
Yeah. No, it was really good to get into the kind of the discipline of practicing to a schedule. Like I remember the biggest thing I struggled with in university was how to organize my practice in such a way that I would become a well-rounded guitar player, but also reach a specific musical goal. Like, how is this going to employ me And I remember sitting down with Doug Reach after my second year, and somehow convincing him to let me use my electric guitar and go in there and play Steve Vai and Joe Satriani for my last 2 years. Don't ask me how I did it. He probably just heard the conversation enough times from kids my age. Well, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. You know?
Well, I mean, come on. Like, you know, how many years has he been there, and how many kids wanted to play an electric guitar?
I'm not sure, but the thing is that they. I had the conversation. Like, I don't want to be a concert classical guitar player, but I want to use this toward getting gigs. Like, I knew I wanted to play on the weekends, whether it be in bars or festivals or whatever, bands.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're classically trained, okay, and you can pull that gig off, all right. I mean, if you can lay that kind of stuff down, you know, if you can lay that down, then the rest of it, I mean, you're not going to get much more complicated.
No, I mean, technicality and you know, like I said, discipline. Even just little things like how to place your finger or how to keep tension out of your hand, and all these things that you don't normally think of when you're just, you know, smoking a J and playing in your buddy's garage, right?
Exactly.
So that really did carry over, but yet at the same time, there was a lot of skills that you can only learn from doing, say, the band thing or playing out, which, in my opinion, a lot of the classical kids didn't do.
No. You know what? We were fortunate enough to be privy to, I don't want to give these people away. We were fortunate enough to hear some people play, and they've been playing together since they were very, very small. Their family, and they have their music. But if you ask them to sing a contemporary song or a popular song or a pop song, they would just look at you and go, we don't know that. And we were at a situation where there was a bunch of people sitting around, and they had their instruments and everything like that, and trying to get them to jam. They had absolutely no concept of it, because all they have ever done is rehearsed and played. And all they've ever rehearsed is their music, and all they've ever played is their music.
Yeah, I mean, which is fine. I mean, if you want to get really tight.
I mean, if that's the way that you want to enjoy music, then I say fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt bad the night that they were at the jam, and everybody wanted them to participate, and they did, but it was extremely difficult for them to do.
Right.
Because they were so focused on what they were doing in their careers that they never had a chance to have any other outside influence in their lives, just exactly what they were doing in the path that they were on.
Right, and there really should be a bigger emphasis on people playing by ear. And I know, like, when I started music school, everybody was like, oh, you know, like, that's great, can you read music? Can you read music? And like, oh, I hear some people saying, like, I just play by ear. I'm like, that's the best way. Like, that's what music is. It's you're playing music, like, it's sound. So when I finished, I found that there was some advantages but disadvantages as well. Like, I remember when I started gigging really, really steadily, one night a good friend of mine, Dion Macbeth, called me up to play it. You know Dion? He played at the Ale House for a while, and he called me up on a Tuesday and said, hey man, what are you doing tonight? He said, you want to come play? I said, well, yeah, I'll come in and play. I said, just send me a set list. And, I was going to try my best to learn 30 songs in 6 hours, right?
Yeah. So
he just went, we'll just kind of wing it. Just come in and play what you want to play and where you want to play it. And we'll have a couple, wild turkeys or whatever it was we were drinking that night. So I went in and did the gig. And I come in with this binder because I tried to listen to a few songs. I'm doing the Nashville system. I'm charting it out, right?
Yeah.
I'm walking in just like a nerd. So he's like, what's this? He's like, I want you to take that, put that over on the monitor, get yourself a drink,
and let's have
plug
some
in
fun.
your guitar and have some fun. It was awesome. But that kind of gig made me realize, like, wow, my ear needs a lot of work, right?
You know what? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. You're listening to the Wolf's Den on CIOE 97.5, the home of East Coast music. Also streaming on the internet at Classic Hits Canada. And don't forget, we're on YouTube now as well. And that's where we're going to head right now, is to a little station break. We'll be right back at you here on the Wolf's Den.
It's covered in dust. This old house has seen better days. This old car has turned from red into rust. This old car dreams of the old highway. This old river still twists and turns. This old run on its own. This old town, its heart still burns. This old town, it still runs through my veins. It's been a beautiful life. All I ever want for one hell of a ride. Even though I may be falling, now when I was a child, this old guitar still has something to say. It's been a beautiful life. All I ever want for one hell of a ride. Even though maybe falling, it's been a beautiful life. Laughter and tears. In these eyes, I've seen something new. This old heart still has a few more years. This old heart will always love you. It's been a beautiful life. All I ever want for one hell of a ride. Even though I may be falling, it's been a beautiful life. It's been a beautiful life. All I ever want for one hell of a ride. Even though I may be falling, it's been a beautiful life.
For all your real estate needs, Thomas Meissen and Red and White Realty, 902-233-5111. Leave nothing on the table. Thomas Meissen, Red and White Realty, 902-233-5111. And we're back. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Jordan Allan in the studio today. We're talking about the life of a musician and how it is when you go to school and then you come out and now your buddy says to you, all right, you just lay all that stuff aside, just plug in your guitar and let's play. Now you say your ear needed some tuning.
It certainly did. As I was saying, like when I started this gig, I knew a lot of theory about, the chord scale and how to listen to, are you familiar with the Nashville system at all?
A little bit.
So, guys say 1 and 5 and 4 and whatever. anyway, like I was pretty well acquainted with that with classical training, but it's almost a little bit of a different system. It's a little bit much to get into, but I remember thinking, wow, this is really going to get me honed in on recognizing these chords. So the main goal then was like, okay, I want to go to these gigs and listen to what these guys are playing and think about, okay, that's a 2 chord or that's a 6 chord, and just know. So that really, really helped, just going in and kind of falling on your face over and over and over.
Well, you know what? Listen, the thing is, if you bang your head up against the wall long enough, you'll stop.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it hurts.
Yeah.
Right? And when you do, you'll go, hey, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And you'll change things up. But seriously, though, I mean, really and truly, no matter what you're doing, you've got to learn. All the books in the world and all the classes in the world aren't, and all the theory is not going to teach you what it's like in the trenches. Because stuff happens at gigs that doesn't happen in the classroom.
And the biggest thing that I think they should be teaching people that want to be working musicians, like I don't know what it's like at X or NSCC, but at Dallas especially, is gear. Teach people about their gear. Man, I don't know how many times I go to a gig and, something stopped working, like how it is, right?
Yeah, DI doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got a squeak in the cable, you just don't know what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, but I learned very, very quickly, have good gear and have 2 of everything, right? At least.
At least 2.
At least 2 of everything.
At least.
So, now when I go to, at a province, I got another amp in the back of the car, I got 2 or 3 guitars and whatever, okay?
You know what? Just the stuff that we've got to do this show. Sometimes we're scared that we don't have everything that we need, and we know we've got a list of ongoing of stuff we need to get. But you're right, like you learn real quick that that brand new cable you just bought. Yeah. No guarantee it's gonna work, baby.
Yeah, they say, tell your kid they want kids to say no to drugs. Just give them a guitar; they'll be broke.
Yeah, really, they'll be broke.
They won't be able to afford drugs.
They won't be able to afford drugs or anything else.
Yeah.
Even more gear. But no, you do learn over time. And I think one of the things that I admire about musicians the most is their flexibility. Because, we could, we've said this so many times, you put people together that don't know each other and don't even need to speak the same language. Just one guy shows a chord and the other guy goes, okay, and like 2, yeah, okay, and then another chord, oh, okay. And then after you've done that once, everybody's talking.
Yeah, and it amazes me the guys that can go in with 0 theoretical knowledge and pull that off like someone who does have all the training in the world, right?
Yeah.
To give my buddy a compliment here, I know my good friend Shaky White, he's mostly ear.
Boom, boom, boom.
And
boom,
he's
boom.
fantastic.
He's a wicked bass player.
Yeah, like I don't know if he makes mistakes, but if he does, he hides them, So that's another thing.
He's always smiling.
That's another thing. You know how to fix your mistakes really easily.
Well, you know what, and I think another thing is not to get too hung up on them.
Yes.
The problem with you musicians is you think we all know what the hell you're doing.
I'm notorious for that. Still, I'm getting better, but
don't stop in the middle of a song and tell me you did something wrong, because I don't know.
You don't never do that. You never apologize for screwing up a chord. If it's very obvious, you laugh and just say, oh, well, that's drink number 4 or something.
Carry on the song, and at the end of it says, yep, I think maybe I either need 1 less beer or 1 more beer.
Yeah. Exactly.
And go on with it. For me, that's why I think I've always loved live music over anything else, is because I get to see those blemishes and I get to see those mistakes. And that shows me that you're real.
You're human, yes.
Right? I don't want to be I don't want you to sing I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, okay? I don't want to see any
Didn't
of that.
you request that last gig?
Shh. You figured out my handwriting, you bugger. But you know what I mean? I want to see you in your element. And I want to be able to know that you're as vulnerable as everybody else and that you can make that mistake.
Right.
Right? Because I need that.
People definitely want to feel something when they go to a show, and that's something that I'm trying to get better at now, is portraying the feel and the play. I really, really tried to work on that in my guitar playing. But as I told you last time we chatted at the gig, I only learned to sing a couple of years back, and I've been trying to put that same feeling into singing without being rigid and out being, because I was taking what I learned from school and theory and putting that toward vocals now, right? Okay. So now you have this kind of, I want to be spot on pitch, I want to be whatever, but now I'm realizing, just through experience, that the more you just kind of let go and embrace the mistakes, that people are more they feel it more,
Yeah, well, when it comes to singing, I learned a long time ago that if I'm going to sing, people are definitely going to have to embrace the mistakes.
Yeah, just keep the beers full. You're going to sound good eventually, man.
Hey, I just need to gobble down a bottle of honey. Yeah. So that I can keep that crack there just from sticking its ugly head up. Yeah. But yeah, no. I have fun, and I don't take myself serious, but I feel bad sometimes for some musicians that really do take themselves just a little bit too serious. Mm-hmm. I get you want to be good, and I get you want to be really good at your craft and that, but, for me, I really like it when I see people that are more concerned with having fun and enjoying themselves than they are about, we don't always have to be right. Being right's not always the answer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes being right is keep quiet about it and let somebody else think they're right.
And I really like that hearing from audience perspectives and people that have no idea how to play an instrument, but they know what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. And you can hear somebody that necessarily may be a better musician in other elements, but then they hear something else in that person's playing that they're feeling, but they don't know how to articulate it. And you want to go, what is that? Tell me, right? Yeah. But you can make your own interpretation of that, right? So I've had a couple conversations with people, even good friends of mine, because they'll be honest, right? Say, what is it? Well, I feel you're a little too concerned about your pitch and being, too dead on. I'm like, okay, so I'll loosen up. But you never learn unless you don't, you need to take that criticism and you need to be welcoming of it.
I think you need to get to the point where you can lay that stuff kind of back and put it aside and just be comfortable and happy in the fact that you're there doing what you're doing.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, for you to put all that pressure on yourself that you've got to be perfect, as an audience member, that's kind of hard on me, because I don't need you to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Actually, kind of preferred if you weren't, because then if it was perfect, then it wouldn't really be real.
Right.
Right? Because none of us are perfect. Mm-hmm.
See, I'm learning something right now. There you go. Well, that's good. That's all great information. Performing isn't just about playing guitar. And, I was always approaching it as, I'm a guitar player and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go in and play guitar at this gig. No, you're going in and you're performing. You are. And so whether performing be cracking a joke or, chirping the table in front of you, whatever. Right?
Whatever it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please stick around for the last section as we come back in a few minutes with Mr. Jordan. And we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to CIOE 97.5 FM, the home of East Coast music. You're also listening to us on Wolf Den Radio on YouTube. We'll be back in a minute.
In the headlights,
Hi, folks. Is it time for you to sell your home? You need a professional to do that if you're going to sell your home. You need Thomas Meissen at Red and White Realty. Thomas has over 17 years in the business, and he knows what's going on. He will leave nothing on the table. He will get you everything you need to get out of your house. You need to call Thomas Meissen at Red and White Realty. That's 902-233-5111. Call him today. Hey, thanks for sticking around. We're back with Mr. Jordan, and we're going to have another little conversation right now about what he's doing in the world right now in music and what you want to do.
What I want to do? Ooh, okay.
But before, just now we were talking, just before we went to break, we were talking, and I said that, you know, most people don't want you to be perfect.
Right.
I don't think anybody does. When I go out to a show, what I want is I want to watch somebody that wants to be there and makes me feel like they want to be there. If you're just getting up on stage and playing chords and going through the motions so that you can get your 2 hours in or 3 hours set done or whatever, I'm going to another bar.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's hard to get in that mindset some days, right? Because I mean, like before COVID, I was playing, you know, sometimes 10 gigs a week, whether it be doubles, like I was doing doubles on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes on a Monday or Tuesday, right? With the alehouse being open, everything until 3:30.
Yeah.
Some days it's hard to go in and have that mindset.
It's like any other.
And that's
It's like anything else, right? But when it's continuous, I mean, if you're just a guy that's just getting up there every night and you're just playing for the sake of playing, and there's no love and there's no enjoyment in it, then you should find another job.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Right? Yeah. Because that's not your job. Your job when you go on that stage is to perform and to entertain. You know, and I mean, somebody once famous said, the show must go on. So when you walk out on that stage, whatever you were before you walked out there, that's gone.
Yeah, it's true, and I always wondered sometimes, like, you know, should I get some rehearsed show together? But I find I'm very, like, I like to be more just organic, man. Just go out there and kind of wing it. Like, what's the crowd doing tonight? Sometimes you don't have to put on a show. Sometimes the people are completely content with you just playing songs. You go, oh, that was nice, Bob Seger, oh, you know. But
the real trick there is being in a position where you can read that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's the art. Because there's other guys that'd be out there and they'd be killing themselves trying to grab these guys and bring them in. And
it's a losing battle. It's like beating a dead horse sometimes, right? And sometimes people just don't want to be bothered. I mean,
yeah.
You know, it's the frank reality of it is if you're at a restaurant with your wife or, you know, whatever, you're on a first date, you do want to be engaging with the person you're there with. So when if I'm a musician and I see that, I'm not going to be like, hey, table one. I was like, oh, God. Yeah,
really. Go to table 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the two that look like they need an intervention, right?
Yeah. But most times it's good, man. I mean, where did I play the other night? I was at the Lower Deck on Friday night, and there was a lot of friends and the regulars that came out, and that was one of the good examples of when people are just it was just a natural kind of, this is a really good gig.
So now you do a duo.
Yeah.
Who's your partner?
Well, I do a couple duos.
All right.
Normally I used to do a duo with Anthony McMullen every Sunday night at the Split Crow. That's who I started playing with originally here in Halifax. But right now, Michael Lloyd, the singer of Farewell Town.
Yeah.
That's my other project. And then Kyle Boudreau, the singer of The Frequency.
Okay, yeah.
And then honestly, whoever calls me and wants a guitar player.
And then you do some gigs with The Frequency as well.
Yeah, whenever we, right now we haven't really been doing any 4-piece stuff. We did a 4-piece gig at Dolan's.
Well, didn't you guys just do a gig you got a gig coming up at Monty's.
Yeah, at Monty's. So we went in there on a Sunday afternoon and just did some promo content. We got a few cameras set up and, put out a preview video of sorts for that. And it was really fun. Like, we had friends come out and they drank it was a Saturday night. 7 of us, right? Yeah, and the regulars are there playing the VLTs and go, what the hell is going on?
What's going on?
Third time we heard this Roy Orbison tune, right?
Yeah, really. He said, "Pretty woman's getting ugly."
There you go. But Kyle's great. Do you know Kyle Boudreau?
Yeah.
Well, he's just a fantastic presence and a fantastic friend. So when you're there, the vibe's good anyway.
Yeah.
Going up.
Yeah.
And he said to me one day, he's like, Jordan, man, like you got to get a couple shots of JMO. You got to meet with the band. You got to get the vibe up. You know, you got to have a joint, whatever, and you got to get that mindset, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just rock and roll. Right?
Well, I'm glad to know rock and roll's not dead.
Oh, it's certainly not when Mr. Woodrow's on the stage.
I'll tell you. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know, buddy. You've surrounded yourself with some pretty good people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lots of talent, man.
You know,
oh, my God.
I mean, well, hey, this place is just overflowing.
It's littered with talent. I'm meeting people every day that are blowing my mind, and I'm like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it's funny because people will say to me, did you hear this? Or have you had a chance to check out, you know, this tune or whatever? And I'll say, who sang that? Or who does that? And they go, oh, somebody from Kentucky or Nashville or Ontario or something.
Right.
And I tell them, I'm sorry. If it's not East Coast music, I'm not listening to it. It's not that I got anything against any other music. It's just that this show is geared to East Coast artists.
Fair. And
there is enough talent that Alex and I, we're never going to get through it. It's not going to happen.
You guys are diving deep too.
I'm 61 years old, and I mean, you know, the list just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper because there is so much talent. It's amazing. And the other thing with us is we're not. I don't have anything against people that are on the train. Okay, you know what I mean by on the train. The people that are making it and that are all the ones that are getting the awards every year and stuff like that. I'm not interested in. It's not that I'm not interested in them. They're not interested in me because I can't do anything for them. They've already gotten it done. My main interest is people that don't get an opportunity to be heard because they don't have 8 CDs out and they don't have, you know, a big management company pushing them and they're not part of the machine.
Right.
I don't want them to be part of the machine. I just want them to be part of the scene. You know, and that's basically what we're looking for. And because the talent.
Well, we're very lucky here.
I'm sitting across from it. You know,
well,
the talent is just off the charts. No, my friend, you know, I mean, your music is stellar. There's nothing else I can say about it. It's fantastic.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Yeah.
You know, and you're working. You know, again, you're one of the guys that I want to promote because you're one of the guys that's out there working to go to work.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's a lot of guys that are saying, oh, COVID struck and I can't go to work anymore and I can't do anything. No, you know what? Alex and I, again, we've been fortunate enough to be in the presence of people that have said, COVID, that's a switch. How do I make this work?
Yeah. It's tough because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, my income did get almost chopped in half, you know, if not cut in half.
Yeah.
So, but I can honestly say that I'm not sitting on my ass and waiting for the phone to ring, you know, so I am going out and putting in the legwork. And if I'm not going out and playing a gig, I'm establishing relationships which I feel are far more valuable in this industry than, you know, the equivalent of a resume, you know.
Yep, I'd rather be putting out names than putting out songs, you know what I mean, that I've done.
Yeah.
I'd rather be talking about the people that I know because in this business, really and truly, if you get a reputation of somebody that can work with other artists, you're going to work.
Yeah.
You get a reputation of somebody that can't work well with other artists.
Well, I had a guy say to me one night, he said, you know, that the reason why the majority of guys get the call back is number one is that they're on time, their gear works, they're a good hang, and their attitude, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to play, but, you know, and singing too. If you can sing,
that makes all the difference in the world.
Oh, man. Well, that's, you know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to raw talent or raw skill, you know?
No, personality and heart's got an awful lot to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Brother, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
They can check me out on LeBlanc Guitar on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube is Jordan LeBlanc.
And they can also find you under Jordan Allan?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's my personal Facebook page, yeah.
And they can find you through the frequency?
Yep, the frequency. You can check me out at Farewell Town Music as well.
Farewell Town Music. Now that's your own little project of your own, right?
Well, that's Michael Lloyd, myself, Shaky White, and Scott Musgrave. That's our East Coast country project.
Yep, and you got some music out on that.
We do. We're releasing our own version of Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill, the February 26th, and we got 3 singles coming out to follow this year.
Perfect, brother. We wish you all the best of luck. We want to thank you for stopping by.
Thank you very much. Good.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you, Wayne.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we always say on the Wolf's Den, please, please, please be nice. Be kind. It doesn't take anything to be nice to each other. Just please be it. And if inside the bubble, don't forget, hug the ones you love. And as my buddy Ken Tobias says, is if you got a little love, give a little love, okay? Be nice to each other. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you next week right here at Wolf's Den Radio and on CIOE 97.5, the home of East Coast